Welcome to this special episode of DSP. The reason why it's special because I messed up over the weekend, so we ran some technical difficulties, but I think we have it all figured out now. And so, as always, I'm your host, Josh, and my great privilege to finally have my Team Childy teammate, Miko from Finland on. How's it going, Miko?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine. And I have to start it like this. It's 11 o'clock in the evening here, so it's close to midnight. And you guys have like what? It's 4.
Yeah, it's 4
Yeah.
o'clock right now. Yeah.
So hello, everybody, and forgive me if I'm looking away from the camera every now and then because I have my camera set up like here, and I can see my host Josh a little bit to the left on the display. But yes, and thanks for having me.
So you're from Finland. So
Yeah.
like I just said, so how big is disc golf there? Like, and if it isn't big, is it getting bigger now that you have like superstars like Nico, not Nico, oh
Nicholas.
my Nicholas. There we
Yeah,
go. Nicholas
Nicholas
and
Anttila.
Silva, I think her
Silva,
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Henna, Evelina, Henna.
So
We have
like
Heidi Laine.
yeah,
Well, you said it yourself. The Europe, and especially Finland, came in with a bang. Like within the last few years, it's big and it's getting bigger. Even though maybe the sport is still it's young sport, of course, disc golf here, but the amount of active players is growing up every day by the day. And the courses, I just checked it from the Google today. Like I think like 4 years ago we had like 800 courses, and now it's a little bit according to how you calculate if you take private courses and 9-hole courses within, but it's over 1,000, maybe 1,050
oh
courses here
wow.
nowadays.
That's a
So
lot, especially since your country is like kind of
yeah,
like smaller
I don't
compared
know.
to
Is it
America.
like we have like 6 million people living here in Finland,
Oh
in
wow.
the whole country? So it's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many courses that makes per capita, but you can calculate that later if someone is interested. But yeah, the sport is big. It's getting bigger, especially the COVID, like 4 years ago. That really like exploded the sport because kids couldn't go to school, and they had to go to school like in their homes, like with the computers. And I think they could like choose from different sports. They had sports every week, I guess, and a lot of kids choose this disc golf
Oh,
because it was one of the only sports that you could actually play because you weren't allowed to go to everything was closed. You couldn't play team sports during the COVID. So disc golf kind of like exploded, and yeah, it came down a bit like after the COVID, kind of like quieted down, but it's still growing. A lot of schools have baskets and stuff like that. So, and you
that's
can
really
see
cool.
from the European Championships, the Finland came home with 8 medals, I think so.
Oh wow.
And like within a month, we are having the Worlds in Tampere. So
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah, that's
So how
I
how,
I
how
joked about it like 2 years or 3 years ago that we're gonna soon have the Worlds here in Finland, and everybody was like, yeah, maybe in 10 years.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that we are hosting the Worlds this year.
So is most of the country going to be shut down for that to go, or is it going to be business like usual? If you can make it, you can go see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be business as usual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the ice hockey world championships that we're having, but I think a lot of the players, because we have the people who are still going school, they are on their summer holidays during the worlds. And if you're playing disc golf, I think a lot of players will be as spectators in the worlds and volunteering, you know, spotters. They need a lot of hands also, but I think it's gonna be a big crowd there.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, that's something that I noticed from watching like the coverage of the Pro Tour. Is like
Yeah,
when they go over to Europe, there's more of
yeah,
a crowd there than
Yeah,
compared to when they do the tournaments here in
yeah,
America.
yeah. I don't know what's kind of like the population on the area in the States is like how big the city is. But here in Finland, usually if you have a big tournament, there is like at least 1,000, 2,000 people crowd. And if you go to south, like Tampere or Helsinki, of course, majority of the population, the players live there, so it's easier for them to get to the city where the big event is hosted.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
have you ever gotten the privilege of like being on the same course as some of the big stars in disc golf in your country?
mm, no, not here. I got to play few holes with Ricky Wysocki one time at Tuni. I think it was 2019 or something. But I can tell you a little story about that Tuni thing later. But yeah, I got to play and see. Uh, but I went to Skellefteå 2015, and I got to see a lot of players there. But that's another story I might tell tonight also. So
Yeah.
let's not jump into.
So where does your disc golf journey begin? Like how long ago did you start and how did you even get into this?
I started playing. I think it was 2009 or 2010, something around that era. And of course, it's the normal story. My friends played disc golf. They played like probably 2 years before I joined. They asked me to like, come on, let's go. And I was like, yeah, disc golf. It's not my thing. But one time I went, and here I am, 15 years later. So it was the love at first sight, so to speak. I got hooked from the very first throw,
Yeah.
and it's a cheap sport, like they say. You only need a few discs, but
That's what we all say, and
yeah,
then we end up with
yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah, but I think that's the. I didn't watch like any videos. We used to do like my friend had a video camera, kind of like the camcorder, where you
Mhm.
turn the screen, like you hold it like this. And we used to have like a group of, was it like 5 guys, and he used to make like funny videos when we were playing. He liked to film the stuff,
Yeah.
playing in the rain and in the mud and throwing bad shots. And he used to edit them and put some metal music on top of it and post it on a private YouTube page. And we would drink beer and laugh it later. So it was kind of like a fun thing first.
Yeah.
But then I started to realize that there are weeklies, and I wanted to get better. Maybe let's say like two guys from that 5 guy group. It was me and my friend who were actually kind of like hooked to these sports, and we started to practice together and more often, and we started to ask the other guys that, hey, come on, let's play again. And they're like, nah, I only do it on weekdays or weekends. And we started to practice together, like getting more distance and buying more discs and the bags and putting practice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it went from there.
Nice. That's kind of like how it all starts off with little fun just here and there,
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh hey, there's actually like leagues and tournaments for this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I immediately liked the tournaments, because not that I'm up to this day, I'm not that good of a thrower, but I just like the a little kind of like a friendly competition, and you don't like to be the last.
Yeah.
And also when you go to weeklies, when I started to get interested on training and practicing, I got to play with the better guys, because the groups were all mixed up,
Yeah.
and that was the thing. You could see somebody throwing like over 100 meters. I was like, wow, that's 3 times that I throw.
Yeah.
At those days, I was throwing like 30 meters, and the guys were like going like 100, 120.
That's
And
that's
that's kind of like it pushes you forward. I want to be that good also someday.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you learn to throw, or did you watch videos? Did you get coaching, or did you just kind of like just go out and just kept working on it until you got something to work?
My friend that I started playing in that 5 guy group, he kind of like he had been throwing for like I think 3 years. So he taught me the first thing, the basics, the grips, the X
Mhm.
step and stuff like that. And then I started asking from some of the better players that I played in the week or during the weeklies that, hey, can you teach me after these weeklies? Like, give me a 20-minute or 30-minute lesson. What am I doing wrong, and how can I improve my game? And I think 2000, and then there weren't that many videos about disc golf in YouTube. There was some Feldberg stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Avery Jenkins stuff and stuff like that. And was it Don Beto or something? That was probably the first one. I don't know if I get the name correctly, but I think it's Don Beto. He shows the the driving style, like you have to rip it first from your chest, like
Yeah.
this, and then you start to take the X step. That was the first one.
Okay.
But mainly, I asked my friends that if they could teach me, and
Yeah.
then I started to practice alone when I had got to know like how the basic works.
Yeah.
And when I got a phone that has a decent camera, I started to film myself and showing the videos to my friends that what I'm doing wrong here, what's wrong with my steps and stuff like that. And
Nice.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's how you do it. You have just you go and ask someone.
Yeah.
If they say no, it's a no, and then you ask another one.
Yeah.
And yeah, and most of the guys were like, yeah, sure, come here, we'll go.
Oh, that's pretty
Because
cool.
it was the time that anybody who was interested in disc golf, you wanted him to like get hooked. So everybody was like, yeah, I'll teach you.
Yeah.
So they don't like fade away and
Yeah. And then
yeah.
yeah. So when you first started out, was there ever a desire to get on a manufacturing team? Because I know when I first started out, like 3 years ago, I seen a a guy just wearing a dynamic disc shirt, and I was like, dude, I gotta get on that team. Like, and that's always been a desire of mine. So
Well,
was that
who doesn't?
exactly?
I think most of player they I think it's the dream of every disc golfer, at least at some point, to be to have a place in a sponsored team.
Yeah.
But like when I started, the team players it was like you have to be a pro. It was a thing that you really had to throw good and play really really good to be exceptionally good player. And it
Yeah.
was something like I started to play disc golf when I was 33, so the train has already gone, because
Yeah.
you have to start like at the age of 3 or something nowadays to be like Niklas Anttila,
Yeah.
who is barely 20s. And but yeah, it was of course it's a dream to have that, no matter the manufacturer, but saying the word team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always, and it's a good goal to
Yeah.
like to reach. But looking backwards and like, okay, this it doesn't mean anything when I say this, but it's when you get there and then you're like, okay, what's next? What next?
Yeah.
So, but like, okay, we can go into the story, because I was sponsored by Latitude 64
Yep.
for 8 years, and I never, when I started, I could never have dreamed to be sponsored by anyone, and for so long that I was 8 years. And it kind of like started when I started getting better, or some people saw that I was improving, let's put it that way. And I was playing pretty good in the MA3 and MA2 at that time, and I was starting to give. I was starting to be the guy that the beginners start to ask, like after the weeklies, "Hey, can you teach me for 30 minutes?" It's
Yeah.
kind of like you didn't even realize that it kind of like slipped into that. I was still asking like help from the bigger guys, but I came like the big guy to somebody else.
Yeah.
And people started asking if I can host clinics, and I started to host like clinics for 1 to maybe 4 persons. And also when I was in disc golf clubs, we used to give out bigger clinics, because there were more hosts, like 5 hosts for, let's say, 25 people.
Hmm.
And that way I kind of like started to think that maybe if I had the hoodie that said like maybe Team Latitude, it just made me how do you put it, more how do you say it?
More professional looking.
Yeah, professional, and more like what's the word, not reliable, but
Um.
more believable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, more professional and believable. It's like having a jersey of your football team when you're practicing. You have the beanie and the jerseys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want that. I don't want anything else. I don't want disc or whatever. I just want that. And a couple of years went, and we come to 2015, and I got a chance to play in the Scandinavian Open, which was I think was a major or national, so major probably, 8 year anyways, a big event in Skellefteå, Sweden. And since it's in Sweden and it's a big tournament, it doesn't get fully booked, so it opens the opportunity for us low-level players to enter the MPO.
Yeah.
Because the only thing they had was MPO. We're playing in the same division with Philo, Nico, Devan Owens, David Feldberg, all the bigger, Ricky Wysocki, stuff like that. So I went there and played. I can't recall how poorly I played. It rained like a week. It was terrible with the weather, but it was so amazing to see the guys. Like, they were like movie stars to me.
Yeah.
And I went there and I got to know Eric McCabe. We've been friends ever since. And I got to know Jeremy Rusko, the CEO of Dynamic Discs, and we've been friends ever since. I met him after that a few times in Tuni also. And after I came home from there, I was like, I gotta send a message to. I found out from the Google that how do you apply for a team spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it doesn't hurt me if I ask. And I just sent an open letter like, hey, my name is Mikko, I'm from Oulu, blah, blah, blah. I came to play the Skellefteå, and I'm really active at my local area. I host clinics, and I explained that all I really need or want and dream of is the hoodie or a t-shirt and a cap that says Team Latitude. I don't need discs or bags. I already have it. I don't need that. Is it possible? Do you have any like spots for like people like me?
Yeah.
And the first time, of course, it came like, yeah, thank you for contacting, but we don't have any spots right now, but thank you anyway. And I think a year passed, and I was like, well, let's do it again. And I started like, I realized that during that year, I became more active, because that's what you need. You need to be active in social media, and you need to be active in your local area.
Yeah.
And the more you documentize, or you have to take videos, and the more you publish stuff that you're doing locally, that's what they are looking for a low-level players like me. Like, I'm just a regular Joe.
Yeah.
A grassroots level player, and that's what they are looking for. Or at that time, they were looking for active local players to spread the word. So it happened to be that they've chosen that time Nils Isomarkku started as the captain of the European team or the Finnish team. I don't recall, probably only the Finnish team. But I sent the email, and I, like a week, or maybe it was a week after that, I opened my Gmail, and there was a response from Latitude, and it said, "Hi, Mikko." And I was like, okay, let's see.
Ooh.
And I opened it, and there was Nils Isomarkku saying, yes, hi, Mikko. I definitely want you to be on the ambassador team. And I almost dropped from my chair.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That was like, what? Because I was like, yeah, they're never gonna take me. Because why? There are like a dozen of better guys out there.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, at that time, I was already a member in the TT Team Trilogy.
Yes.
I joined the Team Trilogy in 2014. I'm one of the first few guys that joined in Finland. Not
One of
the
the
first, but one of the
OGs.
first. I'm probably the fourth or sixth. So I know Tero Tommola might be watching this, or Samuli Busk, and they joined before me. So I don't want to say I was the first. I wasn't. But one of the first, anyways.
Yeah.
So you can call me OG if you want to, because I've been a member since 2014. Yeah, and so I already bagged. I had a full bag, of course. The discs I was pretty familiar with all the molds at that time that Latitude had, Westside had, and Dynamic Disc had, because it was, I think, like 1/3 of what they have now.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know the discs, and I host clinics and stuff like that. And I explained it to Nils, and Nils was like, yeah. I know. And after that, of course, it's a I don't know if it's a secret, but every contract or ambassador deal they might be the same, or they might be like individual, and it might be differ from person to person. But then I signed the contract, and off we went. I got the jerseys, I got the T-shirts, I got the caps, I got a few discs and a bag, and
That is so cool.
I was like, this is the life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like
and
all I
yeah,
want from DD. It's just give
yeah,
me the shirt. That's all I need. That's all I want.
yeah. But well, I can put it like in this part of this video because somebody wants to know that how do you get a spot in a team.
Yeah,
And I don't know nowadays, but I know it's different nowadays. But back then, like I said, it was like you had to be a really good player, exceptionally good, because I know Latitude and probably Dynamic Discs also, they were looking at newcomers, new players who were like the upcoming stars. So I think all the manufacturers at that time were looking and scouting out like people who could be the next Paul Macbeth or something. So everybody wants to like get the earlier you get them, nobody else gets them.
yeah,
And the other way is to be really active in social media, be active locally. It might be clinics, helping in bigger tournaments, running weeklies, running leagues, stuff like that. Growing the sport in your area. And I think that was how I got picked. At that time, I was really active compared to nowadays. I'm not active actually, like not anymore, but back then. And that was the two ways. I think nowadays it's harder,
yeah,
probably because everybody knows they cut down the teams, so it's getting harder and harder. You have to practically probably be a good player.
yeah.
So
And
we
nowadays,
were, yeah,
everyone has social media.
yeah, and the social media part is really. I think you can still probably get a spot after like having a really active social media, but you have to do it, I say, at least a year.
Yeah,
And you don't want to like do it artificially, like pushing yourself to do the social media just to get the spot.
yeah,
Because if you do that just to get the spot, then what's the point on having the spot? To tell your friends, well, yeah, I'm in a team, but looking back 5 years ago, everybody was in a team.
yeah.
The teams got really big, actually. Everybody had Prodigy. Latitude had a pretty expensive, like a big ambassador team, and I think they still have. It's still pretty big.
Yeah,
But that's the two ways if somebody wants to know: play good, be exceptionally good, or get active and show how active you are, and
yeah.
then approach the manufacturer you want. That's the way.
So what drew you to Team Trilogy? Because I love that hoodie, by the way. I gotta
Yeah,
get me one.
I don't know who I bought it from. This is originally not mine, but somebody left the team in Finland, I think, and I bought it from him. But this is because in Team Trilogy, you can stamp your own hoodies. You're just not allowed to sell them.
Yeah,
You're not allowed to make profit. But everybody can find the logos from the Facebook page. I think they are somewhere there as a PDF file, and you can go and print them
yep.
out. But how I got into the team was, I don't know. I wasn't that active in Facebook back then, but there was this Finnish disc golf forum. Do you call them bulletin boards
It,
back then?
a forum sounds
Yeah,
more
yeah. You
familiar.
signed in, and there were like a lot of topics,
Yeah,
and you could pick a topic and like go in and leave a comment and start a conversation and stuff like that. It used to be that, and I think I spotted from there, and probably there's Samuli Buska or probably Tero Tommola, who was the first Finnish rep, and he kind of like, I think he was the guy who brought the TT to Finland because he was really good friends with Brad Boomer and Maury Reynolds, the guys who started the whole thing.
yeah,
And I just started to like, I see something like, oh, well, these guys, they have it's the three brands that you're allowed to throw, and you have to have a bag that's either from one of the three manufacturers or maybe a grip from a company who doesn't make discs.
yeah,
There were and you had to be a PDJ member, like the 3 requirements, and I was like, okay, I feel this, I'm fit, and I'm just like, okay, what's this, and how do you get in? And first of all, like probably many do still nowadays, I thought it was an actual team,
Yeah.
and for like a second, I was like really excited when I got accepted, but I realized like maybe at the same minute that, oh yeah, it's a fan club,
Yep.
because, and I was like, it doesn't matter, because it was even better to realize that it's a fan club rather than a real team. Like, and I started to get to know the guys who were already there, and we started to like have a discussions in the Facebook with the about the plastics and how discs flies, and it started to feel like it's the same minded community.
Yeah.
Like people think the same way about the discs. There wasn't this, if you go to a course and you play with your friend who throws like mixed bag, and they're like, you always end up like comparing discs, like, nah, that's the
Yep.
I hate the plastic, man, that's like soap. But we were like a tight community, same minded people.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. And I felt like I fit in, and it was amazing to have conversation with people that shared the same knowledge about the discs and the plastic, and everybody was so like enthusiastic about
Yeah.
throwing trilogy. And yeah,
Yeah, that's what drew me to the team, was the fact that I started out with just throwing trilogy, like that's all
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
And then I was like, oh hey, this whole Facebook page is filled with guys that throw
yeah,
the same disc. So I'm like,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And I used to have, I have a picture on my computer somewhere that's a picture of my previous bag before I joined Team Trilogy, and I think I had like 13 manufacturers, 26 molds.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it was easy to my transition to Team Trilogy started when I bought my first Escape. That was
Yeah.
something like it had the glide, and of course it was way too overstable for me, but even still, it was like, this glide is amazing. I need to find out if what other discs they make, and then I got to know Latitude 64 and West Side discs,
Yeah.
and then I just sold everything, and I just started to, and at the same time I cut down the molds to like maybe 8 to 10. It
Yeah.
was a good time to, some people switch brands just to like, clean the table and start from the scraps.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing for me, and it really, because I had to pick up a new putter, and it was exciting, getting rid of all the old molds and get to know this whole new world of,
Yes. I love testing out new discs. It's
yeah,
so much
yeah.
fun.
And I've spent hours at our local pro shop, just going through and watching and deciding. They were cheaper back then, like 14 euros or something,
Yeah.
12.90 probably back then. And you had like, okay, I'm gonna spend 60 euros. I get 3 or 4 discs, and you were like going hours, like which one I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, like joining. And then we started to have more members. And I think it was 2015, little bit like under a year, the Finnish Team Trilogy had we had our first annual meeting. The guys who are watching, I survived Vasa. I
Yeah.
don't want to I don't want to tell anything more about that, but I survived Vasa. And the last few years it's been a little more quiet, but we used to have an annual meeting.
Yeah,
And
it seems like I'm like the only like TT player up in like the Buffalo, New York area.
okay,
I haven't seen anybody else, so
okay, yeah,
and I've been
we,
trying to get that Facebook
yeah.
page growing and talking again.
Yeah,
So I've been
we
working
we
hard on
we
that.
have a lot of like quiet members also here in Finland. They are not uh, in the Facebook group or any in the chats. I think there's nowadays it's like probably 12 like active members, but I think we have like 25 or 30 members still.
Oh
I'm not
wow.
I'm not sure, but it's something like that. But yeah, in Finland, that's a lot of players have like trilogy bags, but they just they don't want to be in a fan club, and it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
fine.
I think the TT is more here in Finland. It's more like a hardcore fans.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, but it's of course it's not like that. But because when we're discussing stuff, especially during the meetings that we have, the annual meetings, we can talk I understand if somebody brings like a wife or a girlfriend there, it's fine.
Mm,
But we usually tell that if they don't throw, please don't, because it's gonna be boring. We are going to talk about disc golf and disc for 7 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So it's like a therapy for the guys to have the meeting.
Yeah.
But it's not that huge, anyways. But still, probably 1/3 of the whole TT family comes from Finland.
Nice. That's
I
pretty
think
cool.
something. I don't know. Do you know how many members there are? We have
I
at
think
this time.
214 are on the Facebook page. I
Okay, so
believe.
probably like 10% come from Finland anyway. Still, so
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm itching to see what's in your bag because I see it right next to you, and
yeah,
it's like,
it's over there. So
let's-
I'm just going through my sheet. Like, did we discuss? Yeah, we discussed about this disc golf scene here in Oulu. Did I
Yep.
mention where Oulu is? Do you guys want to know?
So what?
Did we talk where Oulu is, the city where I live?
No, we
Like we
did.
were talking about earlier before the live.
Yeah, let's
So
talk about it.
yeah, let's go back to a little bit to the disc golf scene in Finland.
Okay.
So I live in Oulu, which is 250 kilometers, which is kind of like I think roughly 155 miles below the Arctic Circle. And if you look at the map, you can Google it and Arctic Circle and see what's below the Arctic Circle. And probably I think the most of the Canada is below the Arctic Circle. So
Yeah.
that's how far up north I live. But anyways, and the courses so we have over still in Finland we have over 1,000 courses. But yeah, we'll come to the back. I'm going through the sheet. I had to make a cheat sheet. So
Yeah, I got a chalkboard
Yeah,
hanging up
yeah.
with random notes all
Yeah.
over the place.
I'm just going through like, okay, we can go through the bag now because yeah, we don't actually have a script.
Yeah.
Josh sent me the questions beforehand, so I get to know. So because of my English, I get to like go through the answers in my head, kind of like practicing. But yeah, we can go through the bag now. Where should we start? Oh, we always start at the putter, so we leave them the last. Let's start from here. This is the yeah, you can see it. The
Yep.
bite. This is a PDGA approved dog disc. It's a catch disc to play with your dog.
Ooh.
And it's closest to Sonic that we have in Trilogy lineup.
Okay.
And if you haven't thrown this, get one. Go out there. You can get the light, but the diameter is smaller. So get the real one. And
Okay.
this is a really fun one to have. Like when you're going on a vacation, just throw it in your car, and you can play catch with this. Because it's like going on a beach where you see people throwing frisbees.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a frisbee. It's not a disc golf disc. It's a frisbee.
Now
But
that's pretty cool.
I use it as an approach disc, and sometimes I putt it with it like from 35 meters, 40 meters, because I don't like to when you know the distance when you actually you're like I can't putt, but I don't want to throw either. So
Yeah.
it glides for miles, and it's a good practice if you want to get more spin on your throw. Get this, because if you don't have enough spin, it's going to like turn over immediately.
Yeah.
So it's more about the spin, not about the speed with this one. So
Yeah.
it's a special approach disc, and it's a fun thing to throw during the tournament because everybody goes like, what's that? It stays in the air for like 35 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So get a bite if you haven't tried it already. Then, okay, going through the throwing putters. This is by the way, this is the Latitude. This is the Core Pro that I'm using with 2 water bottle holders. No, actually just one. But this is a little bit bigger compared to the normal Core.
Yeah.
This is like its big brother. Smaller than the E bags, E4, E2, but still a great bag. And nowadays I usually carry only this. I used to have a really big Zuka card, which I think was called the Tank.
Yeah.
I actually showed that to the Zuka people at one tune, and they took pictures, and they were like, "Oh man," because it was modified like
That's
fully.
pretty cool.
But okay, the throwing putters. As some people may know, I like to throw the pure.
Ooh.
I only throw the pure.
Yeah.
For my arm speed, it's very hard to turn this actually over unless it's beaten like this. This is a really old one, but I like it. It's a dead straight. It goes with my arm speed. It goes 70 meters, 80 meters, 85 meters, something, and that's like what 278 feet for you American people. But
that's pretty far for a putter. Like I
yeah,
can't throw
yeah.
a putter that far.
If I can say that I'm good at something, I'd had to say that I'm pretty good at throwing the pure. I don't know what it is. It's probably because I've been throwing the bite,
Yeah.
or something. But if you don't know how to throw a putter, please learn, because then you translate that spin and action to your drivers and mids also. And nowadays I bag 3. This is the old Jesper Lundmark, which is really beat up. Then I like the probably the best ones that I've thrown over the years are it used to be the Kristin Tattar's first Tour Series 2020, the V1s, but the Gold X is because you can see how flat it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely table flat. These are dead straight and they go far. So, but yeah, the putter thing with the putting putters and the throwing putters that's probably the only thing that is really personal, because the way it feels in your hand.
Yeah.
I can't force anybody to throw a pure if you like something else, like the Judge or Maiden or whatever.
Yeah.
It's with the putters, it's more about the feel.
Yeah.
Because you can practically get the same flight probably from all the molds. Of course, it depends on your arm speed. Judge is more overstable and requires more speed, but it's more personal. But I throw pure only. Sometimes I bag a sinus,
Yeah.
but today I'm not, because it still feels weird in the hand. Then these are not, well, they are mid ranges, but I call them my upshot discs, approach discs.
Yep.
I bag, well, where's the other one? Over there. I have 1, 2, 3 molds. From the most straightest to the most overstable. The first one is the Suspect.
Yep.
And Teemu Mutikainen knows it has to be the first run. It's not about the first run. It's just a joke between me and Teemu, because Teemu Mutikainen bags a first run, and it's been in his bag ever since they released it. The same discs, and I had to get myself a first run. I managed to find. It wasn't easy, but I managed to find one. But I use it. This is probably like my overstable approach disc from backhand, but I mainly use it for dead straight sidearms up to, let's say, 50 meters.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that. This is a really good upshot disc to hit the gaps with the sidearm and, throwing it towards the ground so it just keeps under the basket and stuff like that. So overstable throwing putter / sidearm approach disc. The Suspect. And then kind of like the bigger brother for the Suspect is the Royal Savior.
Yep.
This is probably what you call maybe close to zone from Discraft or something like that. An overstable, but yet still gliding.
Yeah.
You could actually say that this is a slower verdict, probably.
Yes.
An overstable, slow verdict, it would be. It goes pretty far to be like the diameter is smaller than a mid-range, like Suspect. These are like, I think, 20 or 19 or something. These are small diameter discs, like approach disc, but it flies almost like an overstable mid.
Yeah.
And these two mainly for sidearm. I usually approach like the backhand. If I have to make an approach with the backhand, I use the pure or this one, which is the Justice.
Yep.
And if you're a Team Trilogy member, you have to have a Justice in your bag. There's no doubt about that. If you just gotta have it.
I violate that one.
Yeah, it makes your life so much easier to have a Justice in your bag. I have 2. I have the first run, or is it the Proto? I think it's the first one. Lucid X Glimmer, and these things you can skip Yeah, like I think like 20 meters to the left. If you right-hand player backhand, you throw it like 10 meters in front of you, and it just skips. So it has saved me a lot of strokes by skipping under the basket.
Yeah.
And it's the same disc, but it does the exact opposite. So this is the soft,
Ooh, okay.
and it doesn't skip. It sticks. Really good disc. The same thing is like soft harp, super soft harp.
Yeah.
What other there are? But I used to throw a harp, but when I found out the Justice had come in soft plastic, I switched to this. So I only back the Justice. And Dean Schaub, thank you. I bought these from him. You couldn't get these like in the Finland in here in Finland back then when I bought these.
Oh wow.
Nowadays, I think they have is it Vanduano, Melanie Vanduano, or what's the name of her? I don't remember her first name, but
Valerie?
Valerie Manduano.
Yeah, Valerie Manduano. Yeah.
She has the soft Justice. I think the touring disc, or at least she used to have.
Yeah, she used to. I think she's with she's with Discraft now, I think.
Yeah. So okay, to keep it short, moving on to the mids, which I only back two. Because okay, these are mids, but they are approach discs.
Yeah.
Understable to straight, the fuse. Thanks to Teemu Mutikainen, he introduced me to these Opto Eye Splash ones.
That looks so cool.
And these are almost the same as the Johnny McRae's. He had the Gold X with the dome. You can really rip these. They don't want to turn over, but they go for a mile. They are almost like fairway drivers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, this goes. I don't know if I throw my Explorer and this, there's probably like 10 to 15 meters.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, I throw mainly only with my arm, so that tells a lot. But these glide. These are amazing discs. So if you haven't tried a fuse, please try it. And well, it's an old mold, so to speak. So the profile is old. It's not like the next one, which is the Trust.
Yep.
This is my straight to overstable, or with more fade. Not overstable actually, but with more dependable fade.
Yeah.
And this is for the where I need the fade, or if it's a headwind. But usually I always throw either the pure, but if I'm like maybe it doesn't have the distance, then I pick up the fuse. They probably fly the same, but this goes longer.
Yeah.
Comparing the fuse and the pure. But the Trust is another one. I used to throw the Verdict, but yeah, this is kind of like the Verdict from Latitude.
Yeah.
And of course, because I'm a huge Dream Theater fan, I have the Majesty logo there. I can't recall the guy's name who did it, but he lives in Oulu. If you're watching this, thank you. These are old ones. I had like 5 different molds made with these stamps: Explorer, Pioneer, Recoil, with all these stamps, because I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. And then going to what's next? Fairway drivers. It's a bit more, 5, but I'll explain. It might seem a lot, especially for me. Actually, it's okay. Actually, it's 3, but these are overstable and they are kind of like utility discs, but they are in the mid fairway category, so they belong there. The first one is the River.
Yep.
This is an old Copenhagen Open 2014. The really first really popped up this really domey.
Oh yeah.
And it's almost like a Saint. It doesn't remind a River at all. They are so stable. This is starting to turn over because it's been thrown like 10 years old with me, but a River. And then my absolute favorite after the Pure and the Fuse from the whole trilogy lineup is the Explorer.
Yes.
I used to be a T-Bird TL thrower, and this is the closest that I think they still have come. It's still a great disc. And it's a special edition, but I think it's practically just gold. But they made a special edition, probably trying out how the mold works with the gold plastic. And I'm like 50-50 Opto, Lucid / like gold plastic. I like the gold maybe more because it wears out a little bit more like faster,
Yeah.
and they tend to like wear into a certain stage, and then they like to stay there. They don't wear to be really really flippy very fast.
Oh, okay.
The first overstability or the stability goes away pretty. It depends on the course that you're throwing, but you get them pretty straight to flippy pretty fast, but then they like to stay there. So I like the gold plastic
Okay.
because of
That's
that.
good to know.
And of course in the cold and wet weather, the grip is a bit better.
Yeah.
And as a side note, there is I think they released the teasers from the new grip line. What was it? The Latitude 64. They have the new grip line discs, which are
Yeah.
kind of like Optos, but they are really, really sticky. I'm really looking forward to those.
Yeah. I was
If they,
gonna
yeah.
ask you, have you thrown one of those yet with the grip?
I got to feel them a week back when I was visiting Skellefteå, but I haven't thrown them.
Okay, because I'm interested in those too.
Yeah, it's tacky.
Okay.
It's almost like back in the day when I was throwing a mixed bag. We used to there was this Innova plastic. We call it the gummy.
Yes.
It was really like soft and tacky, and it's close to that. It's pretty close to that.
All
I don't
right.
know, but it's gonna be a great plastic. Then, of course, one of the old golds, the Saint. This is, I don't know. You just have to. It's almost like the Justice. You just have to have a Saint in your bag, because when you have to throw far, but on a standstill, like in a tough spot in the woods, you can't take the X steps, and you learn how to throw the Saint on a standstill position, and it goes like 90 meters from a standstill. It has the glide. It's the 7, like they say. Amazing disc.
Yeah.
So I don't throw the Saint with the sidearm. I don't know. That way it's flippy, but on the backhand side it's not. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
the Explorer is kind of like for both sides. I can throw it sidearm and backhand, and it's a really, you can tell it's being thrown. So it's probably my most thrown disc.
Yeah.
At the moment. And then the 2 utility discs. I'm kind of like switching. This is one spot that I switch in and out. It's either the Pioneer, the gold one, an older Fusion Felon, and I just took these to test them out. It's the old Zion, the 2K plastic, which is like retired mold and technology nowadays. But this is kind of like a beat in Felon, a little bit straighter.
Yeah.
And if you really put an anhyzer, it keeps the anhyzer really long before coming back. So with my bad sidearm, it's pretty good disc for that. And then if you know, you know.
The Spark.
That's the Opto Frost Moonshine Spark. Yeah. The most overstable spark that there is.
Oh wow.
And yet again, Tero Tommola. I think it's somewhere in the internet, in the YouTube. Maybe I can link it after this is released. At one Team Trilogy meeting, we had a pretty, not to say heated, but intense conversation or debate with Tero Tommola. Which disc is more overstable? Is it Felon or Spark? And Tero was like, Felon is the thing. And we're like, Tero.
I'd be Team Felon.
Yeah. This is the most overstable disc I think in the fairway section. It's even more overstable than the Triple X.
Oh wow.
That I used to throw it before, but when they released the Spark in Moonshine, this is so slow. It doesn't tend to have any glide in it. So, and this is only for those huge flex sidearms, short ones, or mainly for the thumber. Because not going into specifics of the thumber throw, but this turns really slow when you're throwing a thumber, so it goes far. I used to be able to throw this like 85 to 90 meters, but not today. Wow. That was 10 years ago. I'm an old guy now, so. But still, sometimes when you have to get out of trouble, this is the card that gets you out of trouble.
Yeah.
So. And we have reached the final part, which is the fast ones. speeds over 10 and over. This is like 4 discs. This is practically useless for me, but you need to have one of those. One Grace.
Yep.
This is the Christine Tatar. It's either this or the stock stamped one, not the first runs, but the second one, which are a little bit more domey, so they are a little bit more stable.
Okay.
Or they don't tend to turn over that easily. But this is I keep the Grace because it feels better if I have to throw a sidearm, a longer one, than the rest of these, which are trespasses. I don't know why, but the Grace feels better for my sidearm than the trespass.
Okay.
But my main fast one is the trespass. Little understable. The Supreme trespass straight. The straightest trespass there is. I don't know what it is, but it. I think almost that the fade is like 2 on these.
Yeah.
The Supreme ones and the Grace are pretty much the same disc. They fly the same, even though there's ones I think the rim is almost the same width.
I think
other
the
one
Grace
is 11.
11.
Yeah, 11 and 12. 11
Yeah.
and 12. Yeah, but they are practically almost the Grace is the trespass of latitude. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
And then this was a little bit understable one, more flippy in the tailwinds and stuff like that. If you need the long anhyzer, and then the most overstable trespass, the Lucid Ice Orbit.
Yeah.
Turn 0.5 and fade 3. They rebranded the flight numbers on these because they were a bit slower and overstable. So if you need a headwind trespass, get the Lucid Orbit. These are great. And the final, the Linus Carlson Rive, way too overstable and fast disc to me, but it gives you the mental peace if you're playing in a really rough weather, just to have this, even though if you don't need it or use it at all, you just have to have it so you have a peace of mind. So, and then the last one, the putters. At this time, for a person who loves the Pure so much, I still, at least today, I like to putt with the Hope. It's a little bit more, it has a little more fade.
Yeah.
I started to putt like, it's something with my technique. I started to putt a little on the right side of the basket, and I was missing on the right.
Yeah.
But when I switched to Hope, they have the fade like,
and they fade right back in.
Yeah, they save a few strokes.
Yeah.
But also, like Eric McCabe, I think he said, he switched from judges to mercies at one point, I think, and he said that he did that because he was getting lazy with the putting, and he switched to a slower, more overstable putter to make, like, he forced himself to putt with the force and not getting lazy, like just like, oh, let's glide it in. But he wanted to put the force behind the disc. I kind of like adapted that way of thinking and switched to Hopes. But you never know. I'm going like, I have 3 molds that I've been playing or putting with. It's the Pure, the Mercy, and the Hope, and they are almost the same.
Yeah.
So that's what's in my bag.
That's a pretty solid bag. I like it.
Yeah, and I build my bag in a way that very, very rarely I take something out and put something in according to the course. I like to build up my bag so that I can just grab my bag and go anywhere in Finland, and I'm good to go. I can come to States and play with the same bag, probably. Yeah. I might take a warship or something if I have the space in a bigger bag. I love the warship also, but the new Fuse is so close to warship that I took the warship out, and I'm trying to I'm playing now and see how the Fuse does. Of course, it doesn't like the headwind, so I might squeeze one warship in at some point, but at least for now, I'm good with 2 mids. And that's it. Nothing else. A retriever and a rangefinder and some Miss Cancelo stuff. But do I have what? Okay, the minis. My first mini ever. I took it. This is probably an Innova. Yeah. Sorry about that, but this was my first one. I used to do when I was playing tournaments more. every season when the season started, I picked out like 4 minis and I would use them during the whole season. And nowadays, and Tommi Luukinen from Rovaniemi, a TT member and the Finnish rep, today makes some. He has 3D printers and he made this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like you can look it towards the light to see the. It's a bottom stand, but he knows I like the Dream Theater, so he
Yeah,
made me one of these. But yeah, that's my bag. Any
pretty cool.
questions about that?
Where do you sit with the felons? Do you think that the sake bomb felons are more more overstable and more predictable than a normal felon?
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
I have the my best felon. Juha Kytö knows this, but it's they are those pink to kind of like salmon red ones, the old fusions. And if you beat one in like in 3 years, it's money.
Yeah.
But I don't like to have discs in my. At least I didn't when I was playing tournaments more. I didn't want to have a disc that if I lose it, I don't have a replacement for it.
Yep.
So they are more like on the casual rounds or weeklies. So if I lose it, okay, it's gonna sting, but not during the tournament.
Yeah.
But the Ricky Sokibon ones, the Orbit ones,
Yes.
they are overstable. And then there's the Lucid X Glimmer, which is like it's like a rock. It's like throwing an anvil, and I don't mean the West Side anvil, the real anvil. They
Oh,
are overstable. They are like triple X's or something.
yeah.
But the Orbit ones are really good. They are overstable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
The sake
you like
bomb
you like
orbits are the
yeah
ones that I throw. Yeah.
yeah because you're a sidearm
Yep.
dominant. Yeah. So you love your felons too.
Yep. So
Okay. I'm checking out my cheat sheet because I'm jumping from topic to topic. Well, I can continue about the team 64 Latitude because if somebody listened to me closely, I said I was in the team Latitude 64.
yeah.
But I'm not anymore. And some people, of course, everybody's interested. Why? I think I posted in Team Trilogy Facebook group at the time I was leaving Latitude, but I can tell why because people might think that I've lost my mind to quit the team. I didn't get the boot. I left the team voluntarily. It was my own decision, and it kind of like it's a mixture. There wasn't one single thing. It was a mixture of things. And one major player was that I switched jobs. I used to work in a kitchen in an old folks' home as a chef, and I only worked from mine on Monday to Friday for 8 years. So I had 52 weekends free to do whatever I want during the year. And of course, during the summertime and when there's snow on the ground, I play tournaments. Of course,
Yeah.
I could enter whatever tournament I wanted. Of course, I had to take the consideration that I have a wife. Also, I have to be at home. Also, but I had more weekends to spend on playing tournaments. And when I switched jobs, I switched to. I'm still a chef, but nowadays I have to work, let's say every other weekend. So that was the hardest part when I was thinking about, okay, if I switch jobs, I'm not able to play tournaments as much. And that is eventually going to lead to a tough decision that I think I have to leave the team because there are a certain amount of tournaments you actually have to play. There are requirements. Of course, they are not like carved in a stone.
Yeah.
But if you don't play any tournaments during the year, they are starting to like ask why. And I was like, I don't want to be in that position that I hang on to my spot on the team just because I'm in a team.
Yeah.
And because of the change in my work, I kind of like, okay, and I now have like 2 weekends per month that I have like I don't have to work. So it means if I play tournaments, I'm gonna play tournaments on both, and it means I'm not going to be at home on any weekend during the summer. And that's what it wasn't going to be an option. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I had to like think like adults. So I need to change my job. because that's the main income that like makes everything possible. So I was like, okay, I've played 10 years, 12 years disc golf. I've been in a team 8 years, and now it's time for me to let it go and let somebody else take the place.
Yeah.
And the guys at the and the people at Latitude, they were like really supportive. They're like, oh yeah, we don't want you to go, but yeah, we understand, because I really wasn't the person who is hanging on to the spot in the team just to, to tell everybody that I'm in a team.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason. And probably there was a kind of like a low spot mentally too, because I really liked the playing tournaments. And since I wasn't able to play that many tournaments, I kind of like lost interest altogether towards disc golf for about a year and a half.
Oh wow.
I still stayed in the team trilogy
Yeah.
anyways, but I didn't actually, I think it was 20 from summer 23 to pretty much to summer 24. I played like maybe 3 rounds.
Oh wow.
I just totally kind of like, it was like after I resigned the team and it was, there was a period that I was like, now it's over. Kind of like relieved. It started to be, I started to, I don't know, you call it was it the imposter syndrome? You know what it is?
Yeah. Where you
When
feel
you when
like
you think that everything you do is fake,
yeah.
and like you're not really that good, you're just keeping up a smoke screen, and eventually it's gonna fall down and everybody sees that you're fake, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. So I was kind of like feeling that, nah, I don't like to play disc golf anymore. And for 2 years I was staying in the team. I was kind of like I didn't have the time or the interest to keep the clinics anymore. So I was kind of like losing my interest towards the sport, and I was battling with the decision to leave the team for a year. I was thinking about it year earlier, but I hang on. I talked to the people at Latitude, and they were like, "It's okay. Take your time, and
Yeah.
like after the winter, feel how it is, and if you feel like going on, then we'll go on." And they were really like understanding. And I tried kind of like force myself into, but then I was like, when once you made the decision or given you the permission, you allow yourself to think about how it's gonna be if I'm not in the team.
Yeah.
I knew it was like, okay, I'm gonna quit the team. Maybe not today, but eventually. And
Yeah.
then I did, and I'm glad I did. Some people think I'm crazy, but yeah, and I think it took like the year and a half for me to like realize that, okay, now I can play casuals during the weeks, go to the weeklies, and still do something else during the weekends if I want to.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like closing the circle, but a little bit more back to where I started, like having casuals with my friends.
Yeah.
But I don't exclude playing tournaments, but I'm not going to play tournaments this year. Okay, I'm lying. I did a week ago. But in Finland, yeah, I might go to Tuni again next year. I'm
Oh, okay.
starting to feel like I need to play something. Maybe one big tournament just to see the friends and play some
Somebody's
disc golf.
got the
Yeah,
itch.
yeah. But I'm not itching to spend my weekends in a car or in a cabin, because in Finland the tournaments, we have local tournaments, of course, but
Yeah.
if I'm starting to think about that, it comes to the amount of free weekends that I have, and because we don't have any tournaments during the week.
Yeah.
We have maybe one league during the summer, but I'm like, if I can't participate into all the league events, I'm not gonna take part of the league at all, because I
Yeah.
don't want to play like two league events and then miss 3 or 4 because of the work. So
Yep.
I'm like, Mikko, yeah, you need to chill down. Think about Tuni maybe next year, the one, and then I'm turning 50 next year, so I can move to MA 50.
Yeah. There we go. Age
Yeah,
protective division.
yeah. I'm playing the MA or MP4. MA 40. I used to play in Tuni, and some of the events I played here in Oulu, I played the MP40 because
Nice.
it's more relaxed. The
Yeah.
MA2 guys, they are hungry, and
Yeah.
they fight like wolves. But the MA40, the MP40, it's more relaxed. It's the age.
Yep.
Even though the competition is still there, but the the whole environment and the feeling is more relaxed with the old people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the reason why I quit the team, and I still up till today I'm still very like honored and humble to like that I was able to be in the team for 8 years.
Yeah.
It was amazing time, and I got to see some of the people from Latitude last time, the week ago that I was at Latitude at Skellefteå, and they are still very nice people,
That's
and
really cool.
it's amazing because I'm like I was at the ambassador level, like the lowest, like the street team practically,
Yeah.
and I still got to like recognize at Tyyni, like people like Jeremy Rasko, he was like, hey, Mikko. And everybody knows him. I think he knows like a million of people, and he still picks up few people from the crowd, like, hey, you there, I remember you. And he was a very earthly
That's so
guy.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a time for everything, and I hope there are new blood in the team nowadays, because the
Oh
young
yeah.
kids are coming. They
Yeah.
are coming hard.
Oh my goodness, yeah. They're really good. Like there's a younger guy named James. This young guy can just like throw
Yeah.
like 400 plus feet backhand.
Yeah.
He took down an MA1 tournament a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah.
this dude just shreds it. Like I can't keep up with him, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's like for us who started the sport like after our 30s,
Yeah.
close to 40s, it's we're just playing for the fun of it.
Oh
And
yeah.
and
Yeah.
last weekend I was at Skellefteå. There was Teemu Mutikainen knows the kid, I'm pretty sure, but there was this kid. He must have been something like 5 or 6, and the kid was throwing like 40-50 meters, and
Ooh,
he was putting from like outside the circle, and we were like, what? He
that's
was yeah
insane.
he was driving 40 meters, I think close to 50, and the kid was like 1 meter tall. Like I don't know the age, but he probably couldn't be over 7. No way.
Yeah.
Teemu knows. If Teemu watched this, he can tell. But that's the
And watch out.
that's the day. It's gonna be hard to, if you want to be at the top level
Yeah.
as a player, for sure. You're gonna have to actually work for it and practice.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, when going back to the why I left the team, or when I left the team, it was also like I was playing tournaments during weekends, so I kind of like forbid myself playing any rounds after Wednesday during the week because I want to be rested for the tournament.
Yep.
And when I was playing from Monday to Wednesday, it wasn't casual, even though we were playing casual rounds, but I was already preparing for the tournament, so it kind of like lost the fun.
Yeah.
And now I got the fun back, so I'm pretty happy. Anyway,
Are you starting to watch coverage again, or?
yeah, I'm watching. Not that much. I'm consuming more like at this moment. I'm consuming more videos about photography and video making and editing and guitar techs and drum techs. But I still watch Jomes and Gatekeeper and the Finnish
Yep.
groups who are Juha Kytö is partnered with I think the Pro Tour, and they are doing some of the editing and stuff remotely in Helsinki for the tournaments that have been played in the States, if I'm right.
Yeah.
But the coverage is getting better and better by the year. Other makers than Jomes, so it's gonna be.
Yep.
I can't even go back for like 2 years back because there are so many tournaments. I just have to like get on the horse today and start watching again.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
I watch all post coverage. Like I never watch it live. I don't have that time to sit there. So
yeah, and the time difference, I would have to watch the lives like 6 hours before I go to work.
oh yeah.
So yeah, usually they start at midnight or 1 o'clock in the night. So, but yeah, and that's one thing that got how I got my spark towards the sport back by, when you start to like, maybe what's Jomes doing today, and you start to watch like, oh, there's this tournament and this tournament. I started to watch the Leadstones,
Yep.
and throw down the mountain, the old ones, where Simon does all these crazy things. And okay, we can. The one question was from you was that how do you get the spark back
Yep.
after if you lose your interest or some of the interest towards the sport? And I can only say that you have to wait. There's
Yeah.
there's nothing more you can do. Just wait. If you force yourself to the course, it's not gonna work. It's the same thing if you force yourself to the gym. You can do it a few times, but when you don't like it, you're not feeling happy about it
Yeah.
or doing it. So just wait. It'll come there. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not the end of the world. But just wait. And I waited almost a year and a half, and then I started to watch the coverage. And of course, I kind of like got the spark back. It was maybe in January or February, and I was like, oh man, I gotta wait for 3 months. You start to build up your bags again, You
Yep.
start to go through your disc, and then I knew that okay, it's gonna be a fun summer because I'm gonna throw again.
Yeah.
And I've probably thrown within a month more than I did in year and a half now.
Ooh.
So a
That's
week ago we played like 120 holes in 3.5 days.
wow.
Yeah, but that's nothing actually. Teemu Mutikainen, my friend who lives in Skellefteå, they have this tournament called Iron Disc, and they throw 100 holes during one evening, one night.
Wow.
And I gotta take part on that next year
Yeah.
because it sounds fun. It's brutal, but we played like we played two 18-hole rounds every day for 3 days plus the practice rounds that we did before the tournament. So something like 120 holes in 3 days.
Oh
And
wow.
and yeah, my body was kind of like, oh man, what you doing? But it was fun. It was fun. It kind of
Yeah.
like reminded me the old days, playing during the midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, finishing the round like 1:30 in the morning, and it was great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you're kind of like losing the interest, don't force yourself. It'll come. It'll come back. Just
Yeah.
let it be for. Do something else. Learn a new. Learn how to play guitar or do something else if you have another hobby. Give some more time to that, and it'll come back.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it will come back.
So since we were talking about coverage a few minutes ago, and Worlds is going to be in your country. So
Yeah.
who you picking to take down on the MPO and FPO side?
Mm, that's a tricky one because a lot of players are coming, but I'm if the young guns are coming, uh, the place where they are hosting the tournament, it has a lot of out of bounds. So it's not about necessarily you don't have to be Gannon Burr or Anthony Barella to throw like 750
Yeah,
feet. So if I had to put money on one person, I would put it on Niklas, probably.
I was
Even though
thinking the
he's
same.
Finnish, even though he's Finnish, but I think Niklas is at the moment he's so accurate. He's
Yes.
so good at throwing in small on those tight fairways and staying in bounds. So I would say Niklas.
Yeah.
And on the female side, hmm, I have to say Evelina because Evelina is hot. He's playing really good at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be Niklas and Evelina. Sorry, it's gonna be the Finns.
Yeah.
I would like it. It would be so amazing if Niklas would win the first Worlds in Finland as a
Yes.
Finn. It would be like one of a kind thing.
Yeah. I
But
think I
we'll
think
see.
it'll, I think it'll come down between Nicholas and Ricky. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Final couple holes.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there's always the possibility of Paul because I because I'm not sure if he's coming. Probably he is. Of course, it's the world, but
Yeah.
Paul. Even though people are saying Paul is losing his touch, or no, he's not. He's not. But you know, it's the first Worlds outside of the States. Everybody wants to win it,
Yeah.
and looking back, everybody knows the Mac Beast mode that he can do. He can be 8 throws behind, and he can win it with 6.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, Niklas wasn't playing then.
Yeah. I never got
So
to watch, like, I was never watching coverage when
yeah,
McBeast was a thing. So
yeah,
I don't know anything about that
yeah.
yet.
He is. and the course is. Do you play Disc Golf Valley? Do you know the
Uh,
game?
I know the game, but I don't
Y-
play it.
Yeah, you get. You can download it to your phone because you can play the Nokia Beast,
Okay.
and that's. Uh, I think it's gonna be a pretty close to that layout. I think of course they're gonna change it a bit, but if it was in Nokia,
Yeah.
the world, yeah. So you can get a kind of like a little peek on what's it gonna be like. So it's a park course with some
Okay.
wooded holes and a lot of white sticks on both
Yeah.
sides. So yeah, I think yeah. Of course, I could share on the FBO side. I want it either not to put anybody down, but I would like to see either Evelina or Kristin to
Yes.
be on the first. And yeah, of course, maybe Ricky, maybe Paul, but still Nicholas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's gonna be probably. I was thinking about going there as a tourist, but it's probably gonna be impossible because of my work. I'm going
Dang.
back to work on Friday, and my coworker is starting his vacation. So it's like I'm starting with an 8-day row straight
Oh,
away. So it's gonna be a tough one if I miss that. But yeah, it is what it is.
yeah.
But I'm going to watch the coverage and the everything they post from there. I'm gonna be like checking. I'm gonna keep my phone on the PDGA live scoring at work to see how
Yes.
they're playing, because yeah, it's Finland.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So,
Was there anything else? I can talk.
let's.
I can talk like 3 hours. Everybody knows that. But yeah, we only have so much time.
Yeah. That's about all I got.
Yeah. Well, there was this. Okay, we don't go into practice methods. We can leave that to a later date. It's a whole. I kind of like went a little bit to the practice and learning stuff. And well, disc golf. You asked me about the goals that I
Yeah.
have within. I would just want to have fun now. I
Yeah.
want to have fun, and I want to be able to play as long as I can
Yeah.
physically. So those are my two goals. I've gone over that tournament like the feeling that I need and I want play tournaments or I don't play at all.
Yeah.
So I maybe slowly take a part on a few tournaments next year or so, but we'll see about that. I think I can make a decision. I'm going to Tuni next year if I get some way off from my work,
Yeah.
because it's not on my vacation month, so I need to figure that out. But I
Yeah.
probably will go back to Tuni. I've been there 5 times. Yeah, 5 out of 6 because the one was canceled during the COVID. So,
Yeah.
but if you ever if anybody's here ever in Finland or Europe during the Tuni, you gotta come and check it out. It's an amazing event. It's a really nice event and a big one.
Yeah.
So
That sounds pretty cool.
yeah, I don't have anything else.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Cool.
but thank you for letting me be here and
Uh,
inviting me here. This is amazing, and I can talk like the people who know me. I talk a lot,
yeah.
but
Well, thank you for coming back on and kind of being so patient
yeah,
with me after messing it
yeah.
all up this
No
weekend. So,
problem. But like the first try that we did went kind of like sideways, but something good came out of that. You got the new platform here
yep.
with the computer, not doing this thing with the phone anymore, and you get to transform it into YouTube. So you're growing also. So
Yeah. So
let's hope. And
definitely cool.
everybody who's watching, if you post this on Team Trilogy Facebook, go and
Yeah.
subscribe because we need more than 28 subscribers for you.
Yeah.
So
So
let's spread the word.
heck yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
We're
I
gonna
will
wrap
talk
this
to
up.
you later.
Yeah. And see you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.